Wow. What's going on, everybody? Good morning. We've got ourselves some breaking news, and it's not Seattle Seahawks news, but it is Seattle Seahawks adjacent news. So we got to take a few minutes to talk about it here. I think that this is Seattle Seahawks related enough to where we feel obligated to at least take a few minutes to discuss it. And it is official. It comes from Adam Schefter, the most official voice in the business. Pete Carroll has found himself a job. Pete Carroll has found himself employment with the Las Vegas Raiders. 3-year deal with a 4th-year team option. So he's back in the NFL. And he's back in the NFL with one of the more interesting opportunities in the league right now. Las Vegas Raiders have obviously not been particularly good for a very long time. Were one of the worst teams in the league last year, but they've got Tom Brady in the ownership group. They've got a very high draft pick in this upcoming draft. They've got some opportunities to maybe add one of the supposed blue chip quarterbacks in this draft. It's going to be very, very interesting. I cannot lie. And I also can't lie. I was pretty skeptical of Pete Carroll actually getting a head coaching job this cycle. I was skeptical that anything would come together with regards to Carroll because there were only a handful of openings left. And I felt like that a lot of these teams would just prefer to go younger, prefer to go with an unknown, prefer to take a little bit more of a acute risk. But he has found employment. And this is going to be interesting, people. This is going to be interesting on a couple different levels. It's going to be interesting to see how he takes on a very obviously not good football team. The Raiders were one of the worst teams in football last year. It's going to be interesting to see how he approaches the quarterback position because the Raiders have one of the worst quarterback situations in the NFL. It's going to be interesting to see how he works with somebody like Tom Brady and the ownership group. It's just going to be a really compelling story to keep an eye on as a Seahawks fan because obviously as a Seahawks fan, you know that your team essentially fired Pete Carroll a little more than a year ago, and they decided to go young, and now you're like, okay. So we don't know how Pete Carroll would have done if he had remained in Seattle, but how's he going to do in this spot? So it's going to be great theater. And I got to congratulate him. Again, I did not think he would actually get a job this cycle. I thought there was enough going on with some of these other coaching candidates to where they just wouldn't quite be able to put anything together. I thought that the Raiders kind of on the basis of the fact that they were still paying some pretty high profile coaches that they had fired recently, guys like McDaniels, and I think they're still paying John Gruden. I thought they would just go super cheap and hire some random assistant. I thought there were some real obstacles here. And by the way, the Seahawks do play the Raiders in 2026. So that's also going to be interesting. It's very, very hard to imagine that Carroll isn't still the coach of the Raiders by 2026. So we'll be able to see what's up there. And yeah, this is going to be a very interesting time in the NFL. And we're going to get to kind of compare what the Seahawks do to what the Raiders do. And people are going to get some ammunition for their argument one way or the other. So yeah, congratulations to him. He finds that 3-year deal. There's a 4th-year team option, I guess. But Carroll has found work, which we know he really wanted to do. We know that he wanted to do it. We know that he wanted to do it last year, but couldn't find the right opportunity. Nobody hired him. And again, I wasn't sure if this opportunity was going to come across anybody's desk or come across anybody's mind as being the best possible option. But here we are. Okay. So there's going to be a lot of speculation now, too. Is Pete Carroll going to want to trade for Geno Smith? I know that's going to be very near the top of a lot of people's lists. Is Pete Carroll going to be willing to trade something for Geno Smith? Will the Seahawks be interested in trading Geno Smith? What does that open up for the Seahawks? Or is he just going to go get Russell Wilson? Because apparently those two guys are on pretty good terms right now, which, I mean, credit to Pete Carroll. Credit to Pete Carroll if he's gotten the relationship with Russell Wilson to the point where they might actually be on the same team in 2025, just a handful of years after Russell Wilson tried to get him fired in Seattle. I mean, credit where credit's due. That's not an easy thing. I don't think Schneider's in that same boat. I don't think Schneider's willing to accept that. And, they're both basically in the same position when it comes to that perspective. So, going to be very interesting. So, let me know what you guys think. I want to hear what you guys think about this one. This one's going to be very polarizing for Seahawks fans, I think. All right. So, got a video coming up in just a half hour here. So, we're going to move on to actual Seattle Seahawks news in just a little bit here. Obviously, we can't spend a ton of time thinking about this. We still have our offensive coordinator position still open. Haven't hired anybody as of me recording this video. And quite frankly, if we don't hire somebody within the next, I would say, several days, maybe a few days clear of the conference championship games, people are going to start to worry. So there's a decent chance it gets done today, and this Pete Carroll thing becomes old news very quickly. But for a few minutes here, let's take a moment to recognize the significance of this. To the people out there who wanted to keep Pete Carroll, this is an opportunity for those people to maybe get some validation if he does well with the Raiders, because not a lot of coaches have done well with the Raiders in recent years. And to the people who really didn't like Carroll at the end, this is an opportunity for them to maybe get validation if things don't go well with the Raiders. And either way, this is an opportunity to just see what he's got left. This is an opportunity for us to play against Pete Carroll in just not even 2 years. It's gonna in a year and a half plus. We're gonna see what's up. So congratulations, Carroll. Either way, however this goes, it's a very interesting opportunity. And I do have to say that I think he deserves it. I think he deserves to maybe show that no, I can still do this. I can still do this at a high level. It was other things in Seattle that caused that divorce. So can't hate whatsoever. So Pete Carroll and the Raiders have reached an agreement on a 3-year deal. He will be their head coach. He has returned to the NFL after 1 year away, and we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out some very interesting things about what he has left in the tank when separated from some of the things that he was with in Seattle. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks, but for just one video here, we got to talk about Pete Carroll. So congratulations. Let's see what happens.